we'd like to officially welcome all of you. It's really, really exciting to see this group of innovative and dedicated young and emerging theatre makers in one room all here together. Thanks to the financial support from Young People in the Arts Australia, Totipotent has truly become a national forum with representatives here from all over the country.
I'm Shaylee Leach. I'm from the Riverline in rural South Australia.
My name's Nisha Jock and I'm from Adelaide.
Casey, I'm from Canberra.
I'm Sam Young and I'm from Darwin.
My name's Tom Browning and I'm from Brisbane.
We can't wait to hear and see all of you working together and finally hearing the voice of a diverse and vibrant young and emerging theatre community.
I think it's important to have a discussion and a forum for discussion nationally.
I think that this summit is probably going to be the first of many steps forward.
This is the first opportunity I've ever had to actually engage in conversations with peers from emerging arts, practice from other areas, particularly regional areas.
And hopefully we will be able to create a network of young artists that can be a mutually beneficial relationship.
When I first started making theatre, I think about it as a time of sort of absolute reckless imagination. It was a time when I first started making, I was making show after show very rapidly, without really without ever asking questions. I realised now I never actually asked why I wanted to do those plays. The idea of examining the political context of a play, or understanding, or even understanding the rationale, even just asking why do I want to do this project, never really was part of my thinking. After about 3 years of this reckless outpouring, I actually started getting very interested in devising. I got really interested in the idea of devising theatre because I started to see that there was story and there was theatre. And that was a new concept to me, that they're actually two separate objects, and that you can use theatre to explore story.
Well, Matthew Lutton really just gave us a great insight into how to kind of build a career. I really responded to what he was talking about in terms of being a young person and just wanting to create, and not kind of doing it with wild abandon and not thinking too much about money, not thinking too much about where it's kind of going. So it was interesting, his insight into sort of how he started that and how you kind of mature into becoming a theatre maker.
Really, I think what we really need is confidence to go, I need this, I need that, I need you, I want that.
To be empowered in theatre is to have faith in your own ability to work.
Being able to engage with other members of the industry, so opening up those lines of communication, opening up knowledge, because a lot of our industry is based on peer-to-peer knowledge and being able to share ideas and collaborate.
Definitely forums where you can have your voice heard and it's kind of heard in a substantial kind of way, so that it's not just a tokenism kind of a thing, that it's like actually being heard by people that do care and will do something about it.
The thing about open space is that it's a sort of condensed version of democracy. Basically, you do what you like. We have a number of topics that we've chosen from the ones which were written up and placed on the board yesterday. And what we've tried to do is to broadly choose questions which represented the themes which were covered in all of those points yesterday. So there will be always, we hope, one person at a table, unless that topic turns out to be a real no-go, and then obviously nobody will be there, but there'll be other tables which obviously garner a lot of interest.
I tend to use my mum as my market research.
Instead of just spending all the energy on one show for one audience, actually turning around and saying, okay, we've got the show, we put it on here, let's take it somewhere else where people may not normally go to the theatre. I'm going to say the horrible obvious thing of like taking it from metro to regional.
almost like Centrelink for artists, where how at the moment like auditioning performers and stuff aren't receiving, like that doesn't count as looking for work.
There should be some kind of consideration that looking for work in the arts is as valid as looking for work at an office.
You know, as an actor, you can still, you know, you still have a craft, you still have a talent. You can make your own work.
You know, when you're rehearsing full time for 5 weeks, and then, you know, working at a restaurant on top of that nights, and then rocking up to rehearsals when you've had like 5 hours sleep, and you have to be entirely mentally, physically switched on to do your job as an actor. It's just not really entirely feasible to do that. I think that actors do need like some other financial support.
If everyone who wanted to be an artist was successful, would there be enough venues? Would there be enough?
I do think there's a limit to how successful everyone in the community can be.
And it depends how innovative those artists are. Like if you can find a way. I mean, there's loads of people who have that determination and they need to find room or they need to find a venue, so they do. And I guess maybe it's a question of how determined you are.
There's this funny thing just talking about the audience, you know, and we just talk about the audience so much, and it's like it's this big organism that just kind of exists and hovers somewhere, and it's not, it's people, it's individual people.
They should want to come and like see our work. And if they're not, we have to ask like, why aren't they coming to see our, like, not for all, there is space for like really new, edgy, innovative that you have 8 people in a room for, but nonetheless, like,
it's about playing and it's about entertaining.
Yeah,
and that's the primary purpose.
And entertainment isn't a bad thing.
So isn't it about making sure that all of those things happen so that we have a kind of rich diversity of possibility as an audience? So entertaining is just as valuable as shocking or provoking or confronting or laughing or...
It's not about it is about what we want to show and what we want to teach and what we want to exhibit and what we want to entertain with. But going back to what your audience wants in the first place, and knowing that without our performance, like we said before, that without audience there wouldn't be a performance. Knowing what they want is really crucial.
If we feel the audience feeling, if we listen, and when we make something art, what the audience needs.
I would like to see more opportunities for new graduates to have like a pathway program from maybe acting schools into theatre companies.
Personally, I'd like to see that the theatre exists not only in big cities but in smaller towns and communities.
I'd really like to see more contemporary Australian stories, particularly those of people that are unheard, I guess.
I would like to see a culture of philanthropy grow.
I think there still is a school of thought that theatre is an elitist industry, and it's not.
We need to redefine why theatre is important and how it engages audiences, and how we can have more diverse, deeper engagement with communities.
Theatre has no pre-recorded medium in most cases before an audience interacts with it. We have the capacity to respond to change much faster than the formats can, and that's perhaps an asset that we don't always utilise, but something to consider in the future.
I felt kind of in Darwin that I've been sitting there in like a little pot of frustration and going, oh my God, I'm dealing with problems no one has ever dealt with before. And it's really nice to be in a room where everyone goes, you know what, we're frustrated too.
To know that on a national scale, there is a very vibrant young emerging artist community. So that sort of makes me feel not so despairing, I suppose.
What I've really enjoyed about this summit is that we got a professional and an emerging artist's perspective and experience in the arts.
I love everyone here, and if this is who I'm going to be working with in the future, I'm really excited. So I feel like I've really found my people.
I'm feeling really validated from this weekend, going like, hang on, maybe I'm actually like
pretty good at what I do. Like, if I can be here and be a part of these conversations and actually like put some valuable input in it.
For me, it was a reignition of creative energy.
It's just really good to explore means of being successful in theatre and in what we love to do.
A rare, very, very rare opportunity, one that I haven't experienced before, to actually converse with other young and emerging artists from all over the country, to look around and go, well, we're all in a similar place in terms of the work we make or our challenges. At the same time, there's a huge diversity in that, because each city that we come from is so different and the environment's so different, you know, even Melbourne, Brisbane, and then there's people here from Cairns and Townsville and their needs are entirely different again. So what's really interesting is to see the commonalities, like at the core, what are the commonalities of the challenges that we're facing, despite our different needs. And I think that's a really interesting starting point to empower all of us and go, well, even though our situations are different and our challenges are different, there are commonalities in what we're setting out to achieve.